طيب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا. Welcome everyone to our revision session today. First out of two revision sessions, inshallah ta'ala. Someone said it's Maghrib here in UK now. Okay, no problem. I'll quickly do a quick 5 to 10 minute overview and then we'll take a 10-minute break. Mainly because I've been having some issues with WooClap and the subscription, which I didn't manage to sort out, which I'm going to try and sort out inshallah, because we will be using WooClap obviously for today's session, mainly because today it's all about practice and revision and the likes. Okay, so here we are on week 5, and inshallah ta'ala we're going to have a revision session today. So today it's if you like revision 1, okay, that's today basically. And bi'idhnillah al-kareem we are going to do another revision session on day is it today? Tuesday, right? We'll do another revision session on Saturday, inshallah. Okay, and then we are going to post the midterm exam, and then we'll do a exam, if you like, review session next Tuesday. Okay, and then we're gonna have a break, inshallah ta'ala, for about 10 days. Okay, so not that Saturday, the following Saturday, inshallah, we will start with unit 13. So today it's going to be about grammar, okay, and on Tuesday we will cover vocabulary, and we'll also address some of the common mistakes that we come across with regards to the quarterly test, which I've already posted on the learning portal. So on the learning portal today you will find two things to quickly show you. Let me quickly show you what I've posted on the learning portal today. So basically on the learning portal today I posted two things. One thing you would have noticed is that the previous weeks that used to be pre-unit work, mid-week work, post-unit work, I put all of them together in 1 week so that we don't end up with too many sections. So generally speaking, going forward, the week that we're studying is going to have multiple sections, and previous weeks are all going to be just put together in one section. So we are here today under revision week. And today I've posted two things, both on Quizlet. So vocabulary practice, okay, which basically you practice vocabulary. It's gonna get you to practice all the 107 words I think they are. Because what I've done is I've combined all of the vocab for the 4 units that we've done. So it's gonna allow you to practice it, inshallah. You can change some of the options here. You know, they're self-explanatory, and then when you're ready and you feel like, hey, I know my vocabulary, then you can attempt the test, inshallah. And like I explained in the group, you can go to the options and increase the number of questions to 30 to 40, whatever. In total they're 119 words. Okay, you can also choose to disable maybe the written questions if they take too long, you know, and I always advise you to answer with Arabic. That's the smart thing to do. Okay, so practice vocabulary as much as possible, inshallah. On Tuesday, Saturday session, bi'idhnillah al-kareem, we will talk more about vocabulary, inshallah. We'll go in a bit more detail, we'll talk about plurals and so on and so forth. طيب. So what have we learned so far? A quick overview. Okay, so in terms of units, obviously we've done these 4 units. The first unit was about at-tasawwuq, shopping. and we learned about when you walk into a shop and you want to buy something, how to ask about how much it costs, how to request certain products. Also, in case you're selling, you never know, you might open a shop in Arab country. How do you sell? How do you ask for money? How do you ask for a specific price or amount of money, المطلوب وكذا وكذا. And there was also there was a lot of focus on numbers, specifically the numbers called al-uqud, which are numbers 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Okay, there was a lot of focus on that. So you learned a lot about numbers and how to use different numbers. So that itself is a grammar concept that needs to be separately revised, which we will, inshallah. Then the following unit, in week 2, we talked about the topic was about al-jaw, weather, and it was all about asking about the weather, what the temperature is, what the weather in your country is, and so on and so forth. Okay. Then we talked about people and places, and that was a lot about some professions, work, going to work, and those sort of things, or travel, if you like. It had a bit of traveling to it, but obviously traveling was already a subject we've done in the previous level. But commuting to work and those sort of things. Okay. And then the final week we talked about hobbies and sports. Okay, so it's about asking someone what their hobbies are, what sports they like to play, and so on and so forth. So that's just an overview, just reminding you of the different themes that we have covered. And the way the book is structured, as you know, it's all about covering certain situations that you might find yourself in if you're speaking to an Arabic speaker. Okay, everyday situations basically. Okay, in terms of vocabulary, we'll talk about more detail obviously next session, but we covered a lot of words, and there was a lot of focus on plurals as well. There's a lot of words that the previous book, it was all about single words or singular words. Now it's introducing plural words as well. We will talk about grammar in a moment in more detail. Everything we've learned in grammar on every week what we've learned, we'll review it, and then we will kind of like consolidate all the grammar topics and kind of like revise them together. Because as you know, the way the book is set up, it introduces a tiny grammar concept aspect every week. Okay, but it's really nice when you connect the dots and you talk about the whole grammar concept as a whole. So today we're gonna attempt to do that, inshallah. If you like, connect the dots and talk about each grammar concept as a whole, inshallah, in the context of what we've done in the past 4 weeks. Okay, and then after that we're gonna practice a lot of practice on vocab, inshallah, provided I manage to sort it out. So right now we'll have a quick break for those that need to pray, and I'm gonna benefit from that break to try and sort out vocab, because there was an issue with vocab and I couldn't to do the subscription and stuff, and I'm just gonna address that right now so that when it comes to practice session, we can practice on vocab. So inshallah we'll take a 10-minute break for those of you that need to pray in the UK. We normally don't take a salah break, but it comes handy today because I need to sort out the vocab issue, which I've just remembered. I emailed them yesterday and they got back to me and I didn't manage to fix it. So give me 10 minutes, inshallah. So we'll be back 10 minutes from now. So at 8:56, inshallah, my time. Alright, is that okay, everyone? طيب. Alright, واضح. Alright then. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, so we're back. Who's here? Quick show of hands. طيب ممتاز. Okay then, Bismillah. And then let's continue inshallah. طيب. Alhamdulillah, I managed to sort out the vocab. Walillahi alhamd. So we just finished with this. Now before we start, we are going to do a quick survey. Okay, we're going to do a quick survey on vocab, obviously, so that I get a better understanding of where every student is struggling with, what we should focus on in terms of this revision session. You know, there's no point me covering things if everybody understands it, whilst there are concepts or issues that most of you are struggling with. So please join me on vocab first and foremost, and then answer these questions inshallah. So the first question would be, just out of curiosity, okay, what was your favorite unit out of the 4 units that we've done? I'd like to know which one was your favorite, inshallah. So we have shopping, unit 9, we have unit 10, which was weather, 3 people and places, and unit 4, which was about hobbies. So let me know inshallah which one was your favorite. Was it unit 1, or was it week 1 basically, which was about shopping? Was it week 2, which was about weather, or week 3? Normally I have this ready on vocab, but as you know I had issues with it, so I'm gonna have to write the questions now. Alright, so that's the first question on vocab. No, not this one. This one. What was your favorite unit? Okay. Shopping. MashaAllah. Shopping, huh? Nobody went for week 4 hobbies, huh? One person. I personally as well, I didn't like last week's unit, hobbies. I feel like it's a nice topic, but I don't think it takes up a whole week, and there were so many words that probably most of you are not familiar with. I know that vocabulary wise you must have struggled with it a lot. طيب. So clearly shopping is the winner, followed by weather, mashallah. ممتاز. Okay. I'd love to know why. Why did you choose what you chose? So if you chose weather, shopping, is there a specific reason? It could be maybe the vocab was easy, maybe it was difficult, maybe you like the grammar concepts about it. I'd love to know why. Why did you make that choice? Weather, appreciate the creation of Allah. Okay. Weather, easy to relate with. I'm sure you're British. MashaAllah. The Brits always ask about the weather. MashaAllah. Vocabulary, grammar. I like the beach. I found it easier to remember the vocabulary, and the sentences were easier. Yeah, whenever you do put your reason, please make sure you add the choice that you made. Otherwise, it's a bit difficult to know what you're talking about. So, grasp vocabulary more on chapter 9. I enjoyed learning the new beneficial words to do with describing the weather. Someone said because it was easy. I don't know which unit you mean. Shopping, because I shop a lot for my family, so it's good to know what the names of the items are in Arabic. Mumtaz. Okay, hobbies, learned a lot of new vocabulary. Needs to do shopping on a day-to-day basis, so needs to know how to communicate. Yeah, I agree with that. I believe that comparing the 4 different units, I think the one with the most practical benefit has to be shopping, something you do on a daily basis. When I was talking about the weather, it's good, but I don't think hobbies and sports not something you talk about that often. Okay. ممتاز بارك الله فيكم. All of those answers are very much appreciated. Okay, so another question that I want to know, that I want to ask is what vocabulary did you struggle with the most? Now, if you want, you could talk about a specific word, or you can talk about, maybe a specific theme, or a specific concept to do with vocabulary, like plurals or opposites or whatever. So when it comes to vocabulary that you've done on Quizlet, which one did you struggle with the most? And also, why, if there's a reason? For hobbies and weather, okay. Maybe verbs and nouns, even if it's something that is specifically related to a specific theme, specific type of word, let me know. Too many vocabulary, which unit? Please specify. Okay? If you're talking about a specific unit. Okay? I think you mean hobbies. Hobbies was a lot of vocab. A lot of new vocab, I think, because not that often covered, even in other curriculums as well. I think the Medina books, which probably most of you have learned or done before. I don't think there's a chapter on hobbies. أحضر وأحضر on Quizlet. Yeah. Good thing you pointed out. I actually fixed that. I fixed that in the new combined revision 1. Because normally we don't add harakat. But when it comes to أحضر and أحضر, there's no way to know which one is meant without some kind of disambiguation, if you like. Without adding at least one harakah. So I added both harakat. So أحضر, I wrote a dhamma at the beginning and a kasra on the dad. And أحضر, I wrote a fatha on the beginning, the hamza, and a dhamma on the dad, so that you can differentiate. So you'll find that to be the case in the new. But also means that when on Quizlet you're answering a question that is a written answer, reason we got rid of all of the harakat is because some students would add harakat on some letters and not on others, and all the writing prompts or writing questions on Quizlet, students would get it wrong. That's why we agreed in the previous level to get rid of harakat. But I've added 2 harakats on أحضر and أحضر. أحضر and أحضر, I've added 2 harakats, one on the first letter and one on the dot, because that's what disambiguates or differentiates the 2 words. So when you come to that particular word, if it asks you, for example, to attend, make sure you write أحضر. Okay, and not أحضر, or not even أحضر without harakat. Add a fatha on the alif, on the hamza, and a dhamma on the dot. Okay, and same applies to أحضر. Certain verbs and still unsure about خط الرقعة and خط النسخ. خط الرقعة and خط النسخ are just styles of calligraphy. Okay, خط الرقعة is more like handwriting that allows you to write quickly, whereas خط النسخ is when you write very specifically and very if you write very accurately. Okay, just 2 types of calligraphy, if you like. Okay, school timetable, schedule and school lessons, some quite similar. Okay, as in جدول الدراسي and الحصص الدراسي, is that what you mean? Theme 4, extra weather vocab was difficult. Okay, mashallah. Learning foreign countries. I still mix up number concepts. Yeah, number concepts is generally speaking a bit difficult, I agree. Numbers in Arabic are really, really difficult, and believe me, 70% of the rules we haven't even covered yet. So brace yourself for what's to come. Okay, ممتاز. Barakallah fikum. All of your input is very much appreciated because it guides our instruction and our teaching. Same question, but this time about grammar. So what grammar concepts did you find most challenging? Okay. So we talked about verb conjugation, we talked about Arabic numbers, we talked about Arabic plurals, we talked about the ma of negation as well. And we talked about as well attached pronouns. So when Arabic pronouns attach to either a verb or a noun. Okay, so as a for example, taraktuha or kitabuha, for example. Yes, we talked about that as well. Verb conjugation from past to present tense, we talked about that as well. So which of these concepts, or even other concepts that I might not have mentioned, did you struggle with the most? Someone said الرقم. Okay. جمع السالم and جمع التكسير. Okay. Okay. Numbers and plurals. Okay. Plurals and verb conjugation. Alright. Plurals and verb conjugation. Makes sense. Using L to describe the information. Oh, I don't know what you mean by that. Please clarify. Using L to describe the information. No, I don't get it. If you mean definiteness, indefiniteness, when to use L and when not to use it, and also the way that adjectives or sifa, if it's ma'rifah or it has an L, then it's probably going to be a sifa of the mubtada, and if it doesn't, then it's most likely going to be the khabar. If it's that what you mean, which we call basic Arabic sentences or basic Arabic sentence structure, then I get it, inshallah. It can be a bit challenging. Any other grammar concepts? MashaAllah, I find it amazing that people have been struggling more with vocab than grammar concepts. Normally, I was expecting to get a lot of input when it comes to grammar, but MashaAllah, we spoke about vocab. Idafa. Yes, idafa can be challenging as well. Verbs are often in second person masculine or sometimes unrecognizable in other forms. Okay. Yeah, if you mean the second person masculine as in kharajta or dhahabta and dhahabtu and dhahabti, all of these, the only difference is the dhamma or the fatha or the kasra at the end on the ta. No. So you wouldn't know the difference if the text doesn't have harakat, unless you understand the sentence. You would understand it by context. I struggle with knowing how to use the L. Yes, that's a very common struggle that a lot of English speakers they have. طيب, ممتاز. Alhamdulillah. Final question. What do you want us to focus on in the revision sessions today and also next session, or even when it comes to the learning resources that we create or provide for you, inshallah? What do you want us to focus on most? Plurals. Okay. واضح. Even though I have to clarify or disclaimer that what we've done for Arabic plurals, جمع مذكر سالم, جمع مؤنث سالم, and the likes, it hasn't even been covered by the book yet. I just jumped the gun a little bit because I like to explain grammar concepts in a complete sense when the opportunity is there. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so we might not go too much in detail or might not go too deep into plurals at the moment, mainly because the book hasn't covered it yet, which means that you're not going to be exposed to it in the workshops and in the dialogues as much, which means I can teach you, but you're going to forget it. So let's stick to what the book teaches. Sometimes I do go in more depth when it comes to grammar concepts, just to give you a bird's eye view, not because you have to master it at that moment. Okay, so you'll master Arabic plurals, inshallah, in due time. Okay, but we are going to focus right now on Jam' al-Taksir, because that's the only one that the book really has covered, which is Kitab and Kutub and the likes. He hasn't really talked about Jam' Mu'annath Salim or Jam' Mudhakkar Salim, not let alone dual. Muthanna he hasn't covered at all. Okay, so we're going to focus on Jam' al-Taksir. So we're going to take all the vocabulary that we have, the singular forms, and what is their equivalent plural form for Jam' al-Taksir. We're going to focus on that, inshallah. Numbers with masculine and feminine nouns. Okay, yes, I mean we haven't covered that yet. So we can't focus on that. Alright, number from 11 plus. I know those things are difficult, but we haven't covered them yet, and I think there's a reason why the book has postponed introducing those concepts, because they are quite complicated. So when it comes to grammar, when it comes to Arabic or learning any language, you start with the quick wins or the lower hanging fruits, and then you go to more difficult things. So I'm not going to oppose the book in that approach, because it's the right approach. Okay, Hiwayat and الناس والأماكن. Okay, alright. Okay, so you're talking about those two units, which the quarterly test is on. Yes. The Al-Arabi books are vocabulary focusing books, not too much grammar. I agree. I agree. Because it's not just vocab. Arabic بين يديك is more practical. It's more about actually using the sentences as opposed to talking about the theory. Okay? And it has its benefits. Specifically, if you want to learn Arabic for the sake of communication and conversation, which this course is it's all about that. It's the Arabic conversational course, not the Arabic grammar course. Okay? So we do have to keep that in mind. So let's focus on the most used words of the whole book of Arabic بين يديك. Yes, so we won't do too much grammar. I agree with you, Ahsant. Numbers, una and ina. Grammar overview and concepts we have done. Okay. Alright, ممتاز. Barakallah feekum. Keep them coming, inshallah ta'ala. I'll continue with the explanation. I've got much better if you like hang of what you feel like you should cover. So when it comes to grammar, very quickly, just to remind you how things have progressed. In the first week, we haven't really covered any new grammar concepts because the dialogue itself didn't really introduce anything new. Okay, if we go by level 1, what we've done in level 1, then unit 9, there wasn't actually any new concepts. In week 2, it introduced two things about verbs. Number 1, it introduced the plural verb نذهب. Okay, so we've done all of the singular verbs before that. أذهب, تذهب, تذهبين, يذهب, and تذهب. We've done all those 5. Those are all the singular verb conjugations. And it also introduced نذهب, which was the first plural verb. Okay, and we also talked about attached object pronoun, i.e. when you have a verb and an object pronoun connected to it. So the مفعول به being connected to the verb itself. Okay, so for example, you can say شربت الحليب. I drank the milk, right? Or you can say شربته. I drank it. Okay, so the who, that's the مفعول به, now it's joined to the verb itself. Okay, so for example, in the book, in the dialogue, it said what? تركتها or تركته. I think he was talking about something. I can't remember what it was, a book or whatever. And he's like تركته في السيارة. I left it in the car. تركته. I left it. Okay, so that who, that ha, it returns back to a noun that has been previously mentioned. Okay, so it refers back to a noun that has been previously mentioned. Okay, and how do we know what noun that is? Well, we look at the pronoun itself. If it's masculine, then it's going to be a masculine noun that's been previously mentioned. If it's feminine, it's feminine. If it's plural, then it's a plural noun we've mentioned before. So again, that's one of the things that we've done. We also talked about the difference between, so you have attached pronouns. We'll talk about that in a moment, all the different attached pronouns. But what's the difference when it's attached to a noun and attached to a verb? We'll talk about that as well. We'll remind you. We also talked about or reviewed the law of negation. Yes. Which is when you negate something. Yes. That it didn't happen. Okay. And obviously in previous level we talked about the difference between negating and prohibiting. But that's not the topic for this for this unit, inshallah. Week 3 we really went into verbs. Okay, and we talked about the present tense and the past tense verbs. Okay, we talked about them in detail, and I made you write correct conjugations for present tense verbs and past tense verbs, which again we're going to do we're going to focus on that today, inshallah. And last week we covered the ma of negation. Okay, when you want to negate something. So we have la for negation, we also have ma for negation. What's the difference between the two? We'll talk about that. And we covered Arabic plurals, which are we have the singular, the mufrad, the dual, the muthanna, and the jama'. And we said the jama' we have two types, jama' salim and jama' taksir. And then the jama' salim you have jama' mudhakkar salim and jama' muannath salim. Okay, so that's how we actually covered the grammar concepts. Now let's consolidate everything. Okay, let's consolidate everything, inshallah ta'ala. So I'll cover them in one go, right? So the first thing is the verb conjugation, right? So it was mainly about present tense and past tense. That was the main thing when it comes to verb conjugation. The plural word نذهب, we can ignore that for now because it's so isolated. Inshallah, we'll get more plurals, and then when we get it, we'll talk about plurals specifically. But for now, let's stick to the singular verbs. So we have present tense and past tense. Okay. Normally, when it comes to Arabic, we conjugate the present tense by using the past tense. And I've showed you I remember the Excel sheet, exactly showing you how it should be done. Alright, how it should be done. If you want, we can quickly review that. Bismillah, just give me a second. Let me share the screen. So remember we had this. Okay, we talked about how to conjugate it. So when you have the root letters kaf, ta and ba, for example, then the first thing is the past tense. Okay, from the past tense we take the present tense. Okay, so we build the present tense by using the past tense, if you like. We build onto it, right? So we have kaf, ta and ba, right, which is kataba. Okay, so in Arabic, generally speaking, they use the singular masculine third person as the default. Kataba, darasa, kharaja. That's normally the default, and then they take it from there. Alright, so we have the kaf, ta and ba. We can put a fatha on the first letter and fatha on the second letter, but the last letter we don't put anything. Why? Because this can change. Okay, so we have ana, anta, anti, huwa and hiya. Katabtu, katabta, katabti, kataba and katabat. Alright, I'm going to quickly go over this because I think most of you are familiar with this. I don't want to bore you with it. Okay, so then we take the kataba, and from it, or from this kata and ba, how do we make the present tense? So the first thing is, please remember this, the first letter always has sukoon, always. So as you can see, we added the sukoon. And then the letter in the middle, we said, is very up in the air. It could be anything. It could be anything. It could be a dhamma, it could be a fatha, it could be a kasra. How do we know? We don't know. We just have to memorize it. So kataba becomes yaktubu. Okay? But then we have daraba becomes yadribu. Both of them have a fatha in the middle on the ta when it's madi. But when it comes to mudari', it's kataba yaktubu is a dhamma. Daraba yadribu, it's a kasra. Fa'ala yaf'alu, it's a fatha. So that's a bit, that's the way it is. That's why this is one thing you have to memorize that you can't calculate. Okay, so that dhamma here it's a fatha in the madi, and here it's a dhamma. Okay, now the fatha over here and the sukoon over here on the first letter, those things are fixed. They're fixed. They will never change. But the last letter is also up in the air. Not up in the air as in you have to memorize it. Up in the air as in grammar. Its grammatical function will decide if what haraka is going to be on the last letter. So please remember this, my dear brothers and sisters. In Arabic, there are two sciences. You have science of sarf and science of nahu. Sarf being morphology, nahu being syntax. Right? Now, everything, the whole word, if it has a fatha, kasra, dhamma, the letters made up of which letters we add to it. So kataba, if it's katib or istaktaba or whatever, the letters we add to it, and the fathat and the kasras and the dhammas, the makeup of the word itself and how it's built, this we learn in sarf. This we learn in sarf, conjugation. Okay, so how to make it from singular to plural and all of these sort of things. These are actually sarf concepts. Okay, and how to take the root verb and give it another meaning. How to make the verb that is lazim, that doesn't have an object, into a verb that has an object. So kharaja means he exited. Kharaja means to expel someone, make someone else exit. How did we do that? By adding a shadda in the middle. This we learn in sarf. Okay? So playing around and doing Lego with these words to change their meanings and stuff. A very interesting science called sarf. Okay? However, nahu, grammar is all about the last letter. Okay? That's why Ibn Jarrum, in his famous book Al-Ajrumi, he mentions what's i'rab. I'rab is basically a syntax, or nahu. What nahu is all about. He says تغيير أواخر الكلم لاختلاف العوامل الداخلة عليها. Okay? Nahu or i'rab or syntax is all about the changing of the ending of the words. The end haraka, the fatha, kasra, dhamma, sukoon, or maybe adding a letter to the end. Why? Because of the different factors, grammatical factors or governors, what they call it, awamil is called governors, grammatical governors that enter upon that word. So there are things that govern this word and what function it plays in the sentence. If it's a fa'il, then it's governed by that. If it's maf'ulun bihi, object is governed by that. So when it's fa'il, we give it a dhamma. When it's maf'ulun bihi, we give it a fatha. When it's preceded by harful jar, we give it a kasra. This we call it awamil. Awamil they're called. Okay? And the ending of the words change because of these awamil. Because of these factors or these governors. Okay? That's what nahu is about. So how does this relate to what we're talking about here, verb conjugation? It relates to it in a sense that the last letter is always up in the air depending on what conjugation we go for. So we can't put a fatha, kasra or dhamma. So you can find here the ba, he has nothing. You find here the ba has nothing. But we can decide what goes on the first letter. Okay, that's fixed. And the middle letter is also fixed in terms of, linguistically. It's always going to be kataba. It will never be katiba. Okay? But it's just that there's no way for you to know that except by memorizing it. Okay? But the last letter over here, this one, we're not going to touch it. This is now we're talking about the grammar part of the things. How we conjugate it based on the pronouns. This has to do with grammar now. This has to do with grammar. Okay? So adding a sukoon and followed by a ta with dhamma, this is grammar. Adding a sukoon followed by a ta with fatha, this is grammar. Okay? All to do with the end of the word. Okay? Is that clear? Someone said, I love i'rab and I do not love sarf at all. I think maybe you haven't learned sarf before. Sarf is so beautiful. Okay? But yeah, i'rab is also beautiful. I mean, it's a very difficult question. Sarf or i'rab. Very difficult question. Which one to start with, which one to love. I personally believe, I would say, because obviously it's an age-old debate. Does a student start with sarf? Does he start with nahu? Which one is more important? I would basically say that they are like two parents of the Arabic language, right? Mother and father. Okay, and we all know it's a big taboo to answer that question. Who do you love more, your mother or your father? Let's not talk about who should you be better to. I know the Prophet ﷺ said you should treat your mother better, صح? But imagine one of your parents asks you, who do you love more? Or a child is asked by his parents, who do you love more, mother or father? Difficult question to answer, right? Sarf and nahu is the same thing. Really difficult to answer. طيب. And they both play immensely important role. You can't even say which one's more important. You need both. If you just learn grammar and if you completely ignore sarf, you'll be very deficient in your language. Likewise, if you just focus on sarf and you ignore grammar, you'll be very deficient. Just like someone who has only one parent. Okay? You need both. طيب. Ustad, would it not be more important to learn sarf since the word derived from root letters? No. And I'll just answer that question. There is no which one is more important. You need both. Because, okay, what if you learn how the word is derived and the root letter and its meanings, but then you don't understand the grammatical function that word plays within the sentence. You don't know if it's the fa'il or maf'ulun bihi. How are you going to understand the sentence? You're not going to understand the sentence. Okay? So you need both. And if you focus just on grammar, then your vocabulary is always going to be limited because you always have to rely on the words that you've memorized. You'll never be able to recognize the meaning of a word just because of the way its makeup. You won't be able to make the connections between the vocabulary. So we talked about this many times before. It's kind of like the relation between vocab and grammar. You need grammar. You need vocabulary in order to learn grammar. You can't learn grammar without vocab, because what are you going to apply it to? The rules that I give you. And at the same time, you also need grammar, yes, in order to make use of the vocabulary that you have. What's the point of having 500 words memorized if you can't string them together in a sentence? شو فائدة? You know, you've memorized 500 different words in the language, but you don't know how to put them together in a sentence. There's no benefit. So you need both. You need both. And I think it's a very I think it's a conversation that a lot of people they talk about, and something that people bring up, but I think it's redundant. It's a redundant question. Shall I start with grammar? Shall I start with vocab? I say it's a redundant question. And I gave an example before, one of the events that we did, which basically is like, if you want to get somewhere, you need three things. You need a driver, you need a car, you need petrol. So it's a bit redundant to say which one's more important. If you have a car and petrol but no driver, you're getting nowhere. If you have a driver, you have the car, or you have a driver, you have petrol but no car, you're getting nowhere. So you need all three of them. Okay? You need all three of them. So it's a redundant question and a redundant conversation to have. You need both in equal measure. طيب, فعل مضارع. So one of the main differences between ماضي and مضارع, pay attention, is that the ماضي only has what we call suffixes. Only has things that join the verb at the end. Okay? Whereas مضارع is different. مضارع has a prefix and suffix. So keep that in mind. The مضارع always has one of these letters, which the Arabics, they say أنيت. So you can summarize them into أنيت. Hamza, Noon, Ya, and Ta. Hamza, Noon, Ya, and Ta. Noon is not here because for plural, but these four letters, one of these four letters will always be at the beginning of the مضارع. What's the difference between them? The difference is actually quite easy. Ta normally denotes second person. Ya normally denotes third person. And Hamza and Noon are for first person, singular and plural. Okay? There's only one exception really to that rule, which is the anti. The hiya, sorry. Okay, the hiya is an exception to that rule. Okay? We explained before why it's an exception to the rule. It's kind of like there's a confusion here between using ta to denote a word being feminine and also using ta to denote second person. So they decided to give feminine, or showing that it's feminine, precedence over showing its importance of being second person. That's basically where the overlap happened, if you like. Okay? Then فعل أمر, we're not going to cover that, but that is, if you like, a summary of verb conjugation. And inshallah ta'ala, as you know, we'll do some practice in a moment. Okay? So we're done with verb conjugation from present tense to past tense. Are there any questions? Sorry, from past tense to present tense. Any questions? طيب. We'll go to the next one, which is attached pronouns. Attached pronouns, listen carefully. Arabic pronouns are two types. Either they are isolated or they are attached. Okay? Okay, so now let me ask you, what do you mean by isolated pronouns? Or if you like, pronouns that are not attached, if you like. Can someone give an example? Can you write down? Write a few isolated pronouns. Isolated or detached, call them whatever you like. In Arabic it's called ضمائر منفصلة. ضمير منفصل, which means detached or isolated or by itself. In other words, it's not attached. So ضمائر, we have ضمائر pronouns are of two types. You have متصل and منفصل. So can you write for us some of the ضمائر that are منفصلة? Okay. How much are they in total? Who knows? How many ضمائر منفصلة do we have in total? 14? Okay. 14? Alright. So let's mention them. We have أنا نحن. We're done. That's first person. Okay. Then we have أنت أنت أنتما. أنتم and أنتن. That's 5. 2 plus 5 is 7. Then we have هو هي هما هم and هن. That's another 5. 5 plus 5 is 10 plus 2 is 12. Where'd you get 14 from? What are the other two? Because 2 of you said 14. What are the other 2 pronouns that I've missed out on? لا, it's 12. نعم, it's 12. So the ضمائر منفصلة are 12 in total. So we have 2 singulars, أنا and نحن. We have 5 for second person. أنت أنت أنتما أنتم and أنتن. Did I mention that before? Second person? I think I mixed up between second and third person. Second person أنت أنت أنتما أنتم and أنتن. And then third person هو هي هما هم and هن. 12 in total. أحسنت. Okay, so we're not talking about ضمائر منفصلة today, right? ضمائر منفصلة, the isolated pronouns, so far we've done only the singulars and maybe 1 plural, but we've done 5. أنا, first person, and نحن as well if you want. أنت أنت هو and هي. Okay, now we also have what we call attached pronouns. الضمائر المتصلة. And these attached pronouns, my dear brothers and sisters, are of 3 types. We have, to write it for you in Arabic, ضمائر الرفع. Okay? And we have ضمائر النصب. And finally we have ضمائر الخفض or الجر. We can say both خفض or جر. Okay? Screen? I'm sharing my screen, صح? Oh no. I'm still on Excel, am I? Sorry about that. There we go. Okay, so we have these 3. ضمائر الرفع, ضمائر النصب, and ضمائر الخفض. In English, we would call them subject pronouns that denote the subject of the verb. Not subject as in مبتدأ. Now, we're not talking about that. Subject as in subject of the verb. Okay? Okay, subjective pronouns, subject of the verb. فاعل, in other words. I.e. you have a verb. Who did that verb? Okay? So that would be a pronoun. That tells you. Okay? And we also have object pronouns or objective pronouns, which are ضمائر النصب, which basically tell you the مفعول به. The مفعول به. Okay? مفعول به. And we have the possessive ones, which in Arabic would be إضافة. In English they would call it possessive, but in Arabic call it إضافة. Which are, in other words, grammatically wise, it's خفض. Is in the state of خفض. Okay? It's not خفض itself, but it's في محل خفض. Okay? Because all of these pronouns, grammatically speaking, we can't say مرفوع or منصوب or مجرور or مخفوض. We say في محل رفع, في محل نصب, في محل خفض, because they're مبني. Their حركات don't change, but they're in that state, in the state of خفض. Sorry if this went above your head. Just the point I'm trying to make is possessive, i.e. this pronoun shows you who it belongs to or who it is مضاف إليه for. Okay, so you know مضاف إليه. So we have 2 nouns. We put them in the possessive construct, i.e. we have pen. Alright? We have pen and we have أستاذ. Pen and أستاذ. صح? Now, this is my pen. So how do we say that this is my pen? The pen belongs to Muhammad. That's the long way. Easier way is to say Muhammad's pen, i.e. قلم Muhammad or قلم المدرس. This is called مضاف إليه. You establish the connection between 2 nouns. That one belongs to the other or one is associated with another. You say قلم المدرس. Okay. Now, what if you've already mentioned mudarris before, you know who I'm talking about, now you want to use a pronoun, and we all talked about the benefit of pronouns. The benefit of pronouns is it allows us to refer back to a noun without constantly repeating the same noun. Okay? Remember that. Always remember what we use pronouns for. We use them in order not to repeat the same noun all the time. Like, instead of saying, my name is Muhammad, Muhammad teaches Arabic, Muhammad lives in Riyadh, or instead of saying, this is my son Ibrahim, my son Ibrahim goes to school, my son Ibrahim is 12 years old. But instead of keeping on repeating the same name, Ibrahim goes to school, Ibrahim lives in Saudi Arabia, Ibrahim, we just say, this is Ibrahim, he lives in Saudi Arabia, he goes to school, he's 12 years old. We use the pronoun he. So the same thing. Instead of saying qalamul mudarris every time, what pronoun do we use? We say qalamuhu. Qalamuhu. So now the ha at the end, which is now attached to a noun, is what we call dhamir khafd, because it's mudaf ilayh. Okay? Now compare that to katabahu. Compare that to katabahu. Okay? So we have two things. Let's say kitabahu or kitabuhu and katabahu. Sounds very familiar, but kataba is a verb. It means he wrote it. So let me give you a sentence. هذا الكتاب let's say هذا طيب أرسله طيب let me just think of it 1 second. Alright, let's say for example هذا كتابه كتبه قبل okay. So let's look at this. هذا كتابه كتبه قبل عام. Okay. Look at these two words over here. هذا كتابه كتبه قبل عام, or قبل سنة. For those that know what عام means, قبل سنة basically. He wrote it a year ago. صح? Now pay attention. Here we have كتابه. Yes. And here we have كتبه. Right? I didn't even add the حركات yet. Right? Both of them are followed by a ha. Okay, which is ضمير. Both of them. Okay. This will translate to, this is his book, he wrote it a year ago. Okay. Now this ha over here is مفعول, ha is a مضاف إليه. Whereas this ha over here is a مفعول به. Okay, so this is his book. So look at the difference in English, a major difference. Okay, this is his book. Okay, he wrote it a year ago. Look at the major difference when you translate it to English. So this is the same dhamir. This is the same pronoun we're talking about here. It and his. So his possessive, his book, kitabahu. Completely different from he wrote it, or if this would be a maf'ul bi, would be him book. Yes, so him and his. What's the difference between him and his? Him is maf'ul bihi. His is possessive, right? So this is his book. He wrote it a year ago. واضح? Okay. Or let's say هذا رسوله أرسله إلى قريش. Alright? Okay, this is his messenger. This is his messenger i.e. let's say Allah, okay, يعني i.e. Allah يعني, because we said أرسله إلى قريش, we mean actually the messenger of Allah, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This is his messenger. He sent him to Quraysh. Can you see it? Can you see the difference here? Can you see the difference? Major difference. Even though the ha looks completely identical. Okay? Now, what made the difference? The difference is that this is a verb. Let's make it green. No, we already have green. Let's make it yellow. Okay? And this is a noun. Let's make that purple. Alright? Let's do the same thing here. Let's make this yellow. كتبه, I think verb was yellow. Let's keep the noun purple. Alright? So I'm going to color code it here as well. So here we have the messenger, Rasulahu. We'll make it purple. And we have the verb, make it yellow. Okay? Book again, let's make that purple. Then wrote, let's make that yellow. I decided to use this one instead. Because here we have an inanimate object, kitabahu. So in English it translates to it. So you can't really see the connection between his and it. So I decided to use this sentence instead, because in this sentence you can see the contrast clearly between his and him. Okay? So two words that both refer to third person. Okay? And a noun that is grammatically masculine. Grammatically, keep in mind, grammatically masculine. Right? Major difference. Okay? So third person, singular, grammatically masculine, right? The noun itself, it refers to that. Okay? So it's the same pronoun. That's why in Arabic it's both a ha. But it's a major difference when you come to translate it. Why? Because one is maf'ulun bihi and the other one is mudaf ilayh. Maf'ulun bihi in English would be him. That's the object pronoun. Possessive pronoun would be his. Okay? Can you use all the 12 pronouns and attach it to verbs? Yes, you can. 100%. Yes. They might look slightly different. Okay? Depending on if they're subjective or objective, right? But yes, every single pronoun in the Arabic language, you could take a verb, you can attach a pronoun to it to refer to every single one of those 12 ضمائر that are normally منفصلة. Okay, all of them have their own specific pronoun. Okay, right now we're just doing the singulars, inshallah. Take it bit by bit. We'll go to the plurals, inshallah, and the duals. Okay, now here you can see his and him. Now, not only are these two words grammatically different, one is مفعول به, one is مضاف إليه, but also they refer to two completely separate entities. Okay, so here this is his messenger. As you can see, it's got a capital H. It refers to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, and that's what we normally do in English. We write any pronoun that refers to Allah, we write it with a capital. Yes, so this is his messenger. Okay, refers to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He sent him. This refers to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Okay, so not only are they grammatically completely different, but they also refer to completely different entities. And all of that you have to figure out by understanding grammar. So هذا رسوله. Okay, who does his ha return back to? Who does it refer back to? It returns back to Allah. Now, did we mention, this is an important thing as well, which is you can use pronouns in any context as long as the person you're addressing, he knows who that pronoun refers back to. It doesn't have to be that we had a previous conversation and based on that you can find a noun that has been previously mentioned. No. If you come across this sentence, you know exactly who this ha refers back to, and you know exactly who this ha refers back to. هذا رسوله أرسله إلى قريش. That's why I specifically wrote إلى قريش. I could have wrote as well إلى الثقلين or إلى الجن والإنس or إلى الناس كافة. I could wrote that as well. But because of the fact that I wrote إلى قريش, you know I'm not talking about any messenger, because messenger is a general word. I could say هذا رسوله أرسله إلى المدرسة. Yes, this is his messenger, i.e. my father's messenger. He sent him to the school, right? But I specifically wrote إلى قريش to show you the power of pronouns. The power of pronouns. Just by looking at the context and the meaning of this sentence, you know that this ha refers back to Allah. And you know that this ha refers to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Simple. Okay, so this is his messenger. He sent him to Quraysh. I could have said, هذا رسول الله. هذا رسول الله. أرسل هذا رسول الله أرسله الله إلى قريش. Okay, or هذا رسول الله أرسل الله or أرسل الرسول إلى قريش. I could have said that as well by saying or repeating the actual noun, but there's no need for that. Okay, is that clear? Are we done with attached pronouns? Any questions? Okay, ممتاز. Alright. Then we have plurals. Now, when it comes to plurals, we covered one plural for verbs, which is نحن. We said, we'll talk about that later, inshallah. For now, just memorize that. نحن means we. And when it comes to nouns, we went into a bit more detail. Yes, we mentioned mufrad, muthanna, and jama'. This is still a bit fresh. We done it last week. I don't want to go into too much detail. But like I said, the only thing that is relevant to you now for these 4 units is the jama' taksir. Kitab, kutub. And when it comes to jama' taksir, there's nothing much to explain. You just have to remember it. Kitab, kutub. Okay, kitab, kutub. So let me give you an example. We have the word let's think of 2 nouns that are similar in their pattern but different when they become jama'. Who can give me an example? Let's say, for example, it needs to be jama' taksir, so we have, give me jama' taksir, give me some words that we have taken so far. We've got kitab, we've got sometimes we have to think like that. You just, alright, so we have qamis, qumsan, qamis, qumsan. Alright, let's write that down. So we have qamis becomes qumsan. Okay, jama' taksir. Okay, alright, now let's look for another verb that sounds similar to qamis. Okay, give me another another noun, that's similar pattern as qamis, يعني فعيل. Okay, give me another noun. Who can give us? No one? Time, let's say I'm just gonna quickly check gonna quickly go over the Quizlet nouns, see if we can come across. Alright, let's check this out. So we have, let's go to the revision folder. Okay, this is the revision set. Let's see if we can find some words. So what I'm looking for is 2 words that are similar when they're singular but different when they become plural. Riyal, riyalat, no, that's not jama' taksir. We want jama' taksir. Tabaq and atbaq. Okay, give me another word then that is similar to tabaq. Can we do Quizlet competition after? Okay, inshallah, we'll do that. We have tabaq, basal. No, basal is already plural. قميص, قمصان, ثوب, أثواب. Because we're a bit limited by the words here, I want to make sure it's a word that you already know, instead of just going for any word. If you go towards the end, there are more plurals. So we have آية, آيات. No, that's not جمع تكسير. لغة, لغات. كلمة, جناح, أجنحة. Okay. طابع طوابع. Okay. Okay, we have طابع for example. Let's take طابع. Not sure if you... Let's take طابع. قلم أقلام. ولد بنت. No. I don't think anybody understood me. Let me show you now what I mean. طابع. We have طابع, right? طابع becomes what? طوابع, right? Okay? But we also have, let's say, I'm not really sure if you've done this, but let's say you got كاتب, right? Writer. Okay? As you can see, كاتب and طابع, they're the same pattern when they're singular. طابع is like فاعل, كاتب is like فاعل, right? So do we say كواتب? طوابع? Do we say كواتب? لا. Okay? Instead we say كتاب. So the plural of كاتب, which is writer, would be كتاب, writers. صح? So the point I'm trying to make it is that you might have two words that are in their mufrad, the exact same pattern, but when they become جمع التكسير, they become completely different. That's why it's called جمع التكسير. Taksir is to break something up. They break it up and we put it together in ways that are, not regular. That's why it's called the irregular plural as well. Irregular, it's not regular. Okay, so طابع طوابع. كاتب كتاب. واضح? And the examples are many. I was just trying to stick to one that, with words that you've already learned before. Okay? So inshallah ta'ala, when it comes to plurals, there's not much to explain when it comes to جمع التكسير. There's just a lot of memorizing to be done on your part. Okay? There's just a lot of memorizing that needs to be done on your part. Okay? Arabic numbers. Wallah, we can go deep. We can just cover what we've done so far. What we've done so far is that for the ألفاظ العقود, so the numbers 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, yes, these words, we say them ثمانون, and then the word that comes after it has a fatha. So that's one thing you need to remember. Okay, so we've done 20, so what we call ألفاظ العقود. That's what we've done in the plural, in the chapter called... One second, let me just put my laptop in the charger. We've done what we call ألفاظ العقود. Alright? And we also done the numbers from 3 to 9. So that's what we've done so far. واضح? So we've done numbers 3 to 9 and we've done ألفاظ العقود. So numbers 3 to 9, we just mention the letter, the number, and it's always going to be مضاف. So ثلاثة كتب. Okay? 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 Or ثلاثة or خمسة ريالات. Okay? Keep that in mind. Let me make it bigger. So we have this. We also have this. Okay? For this one, ثلاثة كتب خمسة ريالات. So what's the rule? The rule is very simple. It's going to be مضاف مضاف إليه, which means the second word is going to have a كسرة. كتب ريالات. That's one thing. Okay? And number two, this word has to be plural. The plural version of the word. So don't say ثلاثة كتاب. لا, ثلاثة كتب. Okay? Now contrast this to ألفاظ العقود. ألفاظ العقود is different. Here we say ألفاظ العقود, which basically is 20, 30, 40, and so on and so forth. Okay? Those numbers. Okay? The tens, basically. Okay, so not including that 10. 10 is not included. It starts from 20. Okay? So let's say عشرون كتابا. Okay. 20 كتابا. So what happened here? What happened here? Or let's say 20 or 30. You said 5 there, صح? Okay, let's stick to the same numbers. 30 as opposed to 3. Let's say 50, just to keep it nice and make sure it contrasts nicely. 50 ريالا. Alright, 50 ريالا. So here we have 50 ريالا. What happened here? 2 things. So let's write down a summary of what we said. 2 things. Here we say, number 1, ends with fatha and the ma'dood. It's called in Arabic, it's called ma'dood. What would you call it in English? The thing that's counted, basically. Let's just say the object, right? So we have the number, we have the object, yes? So it's singular. So the object is what? That we're counting, or the thing that we're counting, it's singular, okay? Whereas this one over here, it ends with kasrah and it's plural. So let's say plural noun. Okay, and here we say singular noun. That's the only 2 things you need to remember. Okay? So ثلاثة كتب 5 ريالات. Okay? 30 كتابا 50 ريالا, and so on and so forth. That's all you need to remember. Obviously, we still have other numbers to do as well. So just 13, 14, 15, 16, and 10 as well, and 11 and 12. These have other rules. They've got different rules. Okay? But for now, let's just stick to this. Okay? Okay? Let's stick with this so far that we've done in the book. So we've done from 3 to 9, and we've done also 20, 30, 40, 50, and upwards. طبعا 1 is singular and 2 is dual. Dual, we talked about that last week. Dual, we just add alif noon at the end, or ya or noon. So it'd be kitabaini or kitabani, okay, riyalani, riyalaini, and so on and so forth. Okay, so starting from 3 up to 9, this is the rule. From 20, 30, 40, 50 up to 90, this is the rule. Okay, and we'll cover other number concepts as we come across them, inshallah. Okay, so don't fret, inshallah. طيب, ممتاز. I think we're done then with the negation. There's negation, not much to cover. What's the difference between la and ma? Okay, so la is basically used for present tense. Okay, if we're talking about verbs, yeah, if it comes to verbs, yes, negating verbs, then we have la for present tense. لا يشرب لا يكتب محمد الدرس. Okay, whereas ma is more often used for past tense. ما كتب محمد الدرس. Okay, even though it can be used for present tense, but we're talking here about the most frequently used between the two, ma and la. So they're both for negation. You can say ma كتب and لا يكتب. Okay, but to say لا كتب, that doesn't sound right. That's wrong. Okay, you can say it. Okay, like for example, لا قدر الله. Okay, but it's not very oftenly used as much as ma. So ma is mostly used with past tense, la is mostly used with present tense, even though, like I said, it can be they can both be used for both tenses, but this is the most frequent use between the two. But for the rest, they're both used for negation. Ma itself, the letter, the word, the harf ma, has got so many different uses. This is just one of them that we've covered in the book so far, which I think is not much point to go into more detail. Just focus on these other 4 concepts that we've covered more, inshallah. Okay? Mufrad and mansoob. Yes, it's called tamyiz, ahsant. But we haven't covered that yet. Just for now, we just want people to memorize it the way it is, inshallah. طيب, واضح. We'll quickly do a Quizlet. I was going to do Quizlet actually, revision session 2, because revision session 2 was meant to be for vocabulary, but nevertheless, since you've shown an interest, we'll do a quick Quizlet competition. But the real competition, inshallah, is going to be on Saturday. Okay, but today we'll do 1 or 2 rounds, inshallah, and we're going to do it on this, if you can, it's like a warm-up if you like. Okay, so we're going to do it on this new set over here, which consists of 119 words. A whopping 119 words you've covered, mashallah, tabarakallah alaikum. 119 words you've learnt over the past 4 weeks. At least I hope you have. So let's find out, inshallah, if you have the hang of it or not. Okay, so let's do individuals. Obviously we always answer in Arabic, and let me share the link with you. So today's workshop session is going to be a bit short, seems like, but la bas. Let me just tell the teachers. عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. حياك الله أستاذ. إن شاء الله سنبدأ قريبا. Okay, mashallah, let's start. Everybody ready? 3. Alright, I'm gonna start this game. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go for it. Someone is missing. Maybe they lost connection. Let me try again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. Quizlet is acting a bit funny today. I can barely see what's happening. I don't want to refresh it and mess things up, but well, look, let's wait for it, inshallah. MashaAllah. MashaAllah. Ahsant, MashaAllah. Okay, Nursalini won that one. I was gonna refresh the page because it was acting a bit funny. Hopefully that will resolve. Let's do it again. Okay, so individuals answering Arabic. I hope it's the same link. Is it? Man. It's a different link, so I'm gonna have to share the link again. Sorry about that. It's a different link, so use the new link, please. طيب, let's start. Bismillah. 3, 2, 1, go. Issue again. 3, 2. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Bismillah. Yeah, quiz is still acting a bit funky for me today. I can barely see anything. Anyway, let's see inshallah what happens. Okay, mashallah. So we got the same winner again. So normally do best out of 3. So that's decided for today, inshallah. So today we got a clear winner. Nur Salini Ahsant. Barakallah feek. Khalas, we'll go to the workshops, inshallah. Workshops will start in about 5 minutes, inshallah. And I want the sisters specifically that are going to be attending the workshop to write in the Telegram group, because the learning resource that we're going to do, I need to add your names to it. Okay, so I want to know who's attending. Please write your name in the Telegram group so that I can add your name to the widget that we're using, the random widget. So basically what we're going to use is, I'll just explain it to you. We're going to have this widget, click on it, and it's going to give 2 random names. 2 students, 2 random names, and it's going to give a question word. Man, ma, kem, whatever. And then the first student has to ask the other student a question using that question word, and then the second student has to answer the question. Okay, so I need the names of all those people that will be partaking in the workshop so that I can add their names to the random spinner, inshallah. Okay, so make sure you write your name in the Telegram group, inshallah, for the sisters. The brothers, obviously, I'll see you in the workshop, and then I'll add your names, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sorry, if Quizlet wasn't working for you, neither was it for me. It was a bit acting funky today, but ma'alish. Inshallah, choose Saturday, inshallah. Barakallah feekum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And please, those of you here on the Zoom call, when you get an email asking for feedback about today's class, please make sure you give me the feedback so we can benefit from it for future revision sessions. And if you're watching this on YouTube, then use the comment section in YouTube, inshallah. Barakallah feekum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.